Well, a quick update on gold and silver, and just going by some of the things in the past, some common sense things. Typically, gold's got to get some legs first. In other words, it's not going to take off exponentially, but it's got to keep moving up inch by inch by inch. Doesn't seem to be doing a bad job of that. Then all of a sudden, gold will be pulling silver, and silver will slingshot ahead of it. Basically, like this girl's pulling this one on a skateboard. She's gold, and the other one's silver. Once gold starts taking off a little bit, and it's not sitting that flat. It's been doing all right lately. Silver's going to slingshot ahead of it. That's really what goes on in the past. And then when silver gets too far ahead of itself, what happens is it corrects hard and it sits flat a long time, as we've been noticing. It got too far ahead of itself. I don't buy the total manipulation type stuff. I think there's some type of suppression going on, but I don't know, like, if it should be $100 an ounce just yet, because a lot of the money that Ben Bernanke's printing, per se, quote unquote, is not really hitting in the economy. And the other thing is, the money is not turning over fast in the economy. Now, yesterday I mentioned something about Goldman Sachs. They're forecasting an upturn in the economy in 2013, later on in the last half of the year, and that's going to be bad for gold. Well, I don't trust Goldman Sachs either, but that's maybe the honest opinion of some commodity strategist or whatever the hell it is. But quite obviously, though, this fiscal cliff coming up, it's not going to happen. See, the fiscal cliff could be bearish for gold if they really do it, but it's not going to happen. And just using some common sense, as the government is pondering, trying to make cuts to the waistline of the overbloated government and get down to just the nitty-gritty, what they need to run on the essentials, they're not doing it to the satisfaction of, say, Standard & Poor's and Moody's. Standard & Poor's and Moody's warned them about this, like Standard S&P downgraded them already back in August 2011. That's what caused gold to go up so much. Now, they warned him afterwards. They warned him again later in 2011, like in October, November, and all this type of stuff. They warned him that, but oh no, we got the mandatory must-have cuts. These are by law. This is going to happen. So now that the deadline's coming up, guess what happens? We see they're already making compromises. They're going to raise the debt ceiling and all this garbage, right? Why even have a debt ceiling? So what's going to happen is, something's going to happen with the rating of the U.S. bonds, and that is what's going to drive gold up a lot. But the thing is, with silver, for it to really hit the highs, it's going to have to, we're going to have to see a boost in the gold first. I don't think silver's going to move by itself unless there's a war in the Middle East and the oil prices start going up. If the oil prices start skyrocketing, maybe the first day may not be a great move in silver, but somehow when oil prices go right through the roof, silver seems to go right through the roof. Same thing. So that's an outside event, though. It's an event that I thought would have happened already in 2012. It didn't happen just yet, so it always seems like it's right around the corner. I don't know. The other thing is, with the stock markets themselves, I know, like, for instance, Jim Rogers and also Mark Faber said 2013, especially Mark Faber, said 2013 is going to be a terrible year. I know Jim Rogers said it's going to be a terrible year, and the reasons Mark Faber was given was not because of the fiscal cliff, not because of problems in Europe or Greece, but because of poor earnings. That makes sense because, if you're looking at the manufacturing data, it's down throughout the world. Now the U.S. is starting to show piss poor manufacturing data coming in statistics. I think it always was garbage, and somehow the numbers are being a little bit jury-rigged to keep them up a little higher for before the election. I think the reality is coming in after the election. But considering everywhere is down across the board, if Europe's down, U.S. is down, and China's down, I know China's, for the end of the year, they're trying to make things look nice, but I don't think that's the reality. I think that's going to catch up. In 2013, you're going to see some lousy numbers coming in again on China. I think they're just doing that for the end of the year to paint a rosy picture. The thing is, production, sales, industry, profitability, all those type of things add up to what the stock price is going to be in the market. In other words, the shares go up when the companies are doing great. There's a lot of sales. There's a lot of profitability. The shares do good. So Mark Farber, I think, is dead on with that. That's what's going to happen. You're going to see a stock market turn down. You're going to see the dollar not be the safe haven because of them raising the debt ceiling over and over again. And I don't know about this thing with war with the Middle East. I've been predicting it for so long. I've been wrong about it. I thought it would happen in the spring, this 2012, late spring. So, if it doesn't, it's probably not going to happen for at least several months. If it happens anytime in 2013, the time is not ripe for war in the Middle East with Iran or anything like that till at least the springtime. So it's not going to happen right away. Now, Goldman Sachs and others in Citigroup is also forecasting oil to go way down, maybe to $50 a barrel in 2013. But I almost smell something really wrong with their projections right off the bat where they conflict each other. If the economy is heating up in 2013, doesn't that create a demand on oil? Why would oil go to $50 a barrel if the economy's heating up? See what I mean? That doesn't make sense. Plus, the correlation between gold and oil is a pretty high correlation. So I guess they're predicting, gold and oil all to drop at the same time. I don't know. I mean, to me, they're conflicting. Like, in other words, a strong economy means stronger stock prices, stronger demand on oil, and to me, that just doesn't jive with a lower oil price. So somehow they smell like bullshit. I mean, just to put it bluntly, they smell like bullshit right from the day one, even from their statements right on the face of it. As far as like what's going to happen in 2013, I think earlier on we're going to see a down. I don't know when they're going to pull a rabbit out of the hat with downgrading the debt, but I think it's going to be earlier 2013 and not later 13. It should have actually been done again already, but once they start really not keeping their promises, see, to keep that, in other words, the only reason Moody's didn't downgrade the debt also is because they had this mandatory cuts that were coming in to show fiscal responsibility. Since they're ignoring it, expect Moody's to downgrade the debt. Why not? So all the debts are actually going to be downgraded throughout the world. I mean, Europe's had a slew of them going on in 2012, and you're going to see the United States. So what the hell does that leave? The equities aren't going to look good because of the earnings. That's going to only leave gold and silver, basically, some of the commodities, oil, agriculture, and things like that. So today, the markets are looking a little bit better because there's been some good news at the end of the year that boost up the markets in general. Some of the production numbers look a little bit better in Germany and stuff. That was another thing. But as far as what's going to happen when the debt gets downgraded, that's the one thing that's going to drive up gold. And the other thing is the bond market. Eventually, they're going to have to start raising interest rates. They're going to have to. I don't know who the hell they're going to keep selling these bonds to. I don't think China's buying them. I think the government is buying their own bonds when they go into the open market. And what they're doing with those bonds is they're making a swap for mortgage-backed securities. But there's only so many mortgage-backed securities they're going to make that swap for. Then where's the money going to go? If the money actually starts circulating in the economy, we're going to have some rampant inflation. So, I know it's kind of a patient game, but another thing that might actually throw people off with a curveball is a lot of times before serious hard inflation takes place, there's a period of deflation or like a stagnation of prices or lowering of prices. That's usually what happens. So, the dollar is not the place to be for most of your money. No doubt about it. That's a dangerous game. So, as far as what can happen in the future, you might see a psychological downturn in some. I still think real estate's going to go down, but we could see some problem, ups and downs in silver too. I mean, it could go up to like 40 and then go back down into 37 or something like that before it really starts taking off into the higher ranges. Eventually, silver is definitely going to be a good $150 an ounce or more. Definitely, definitely. Now, the bad part about this stuff, I'm assuming like the end of 2014 or early 2015 is where gold and silver is really going to start going vertical again, really hard. Um, if the government itself, or the powers that are in our elite, are losing control, what's going to happen then is there's going to be a fight for resources or fight for power in the world. That's what I'm thinking. Um, it's like nobody's elite anywhere in the world is so nice. I could tell you that. And I want to editorialize a little bit about something at the end here because I know there's a lot of criticism of the elite. Actually, the Western elite are probably the least screwed up on the earth, in my opinion. But the real problem in society is not so much the elite; it's actually the people themselves. You look at TSA, like when they're checking people in airports. There's nobody in the elite that told them to go to excessive methods that they did. I mean, a lot of times, somebody's like becomes a cop and they're just not good people. They become a cop because they're on a power trip and they do rotten things. There's people like that in the medical profession too. They got big egos and they think they're God on earth. There's a lot of people like that in a lot of professions and a lot of fields. So, a lot of times people like to just point the finger at the elite. But I could imagine if some average person had the power of the Rothschilds, or if they had the nuclear briefcase or whatever, who the hell knows what they would do? Really, really. So I mean, a lot of people think the world's problems will be solved by defeating the elite. I don't think so at all. I think there's a lot of average people that are actually far worse. And unfortunately, it's very true though, I can say this, a lot of times the most religious people are the worst ones going. Don't matter what religion they are. They could be the worst of the worst. And that's been proven. Don't matter what religion they are. So, sometimes when we got this battle with silver and gold against the elite and the banksters, it's only part of the problem. Actually, one of the biggest problems facing people is actually the way people treat each other. So that has a hell of a lot to do with other things. That has a lot to do more to do with it than even the problem with the elite. Because even little people, if you want to call them that, just regular people, get a little bit of power. Somebody sticks a name tag on them, or they got a uniform on, or they're in charge of this and that. Oh, they can just go on a power trip left and right. You see that in TSA. Sometimes you see that with the police. You can see that with medical. I mean, any area. So it's not just the elite. Actually, most of it's actually regular people. They're screwed up. So going this battle with silver and gold against the elite is probably not a good way to think of it. Probably our best saving grace commodity is going to be hemp. Not the stuff that you smoke. I mean, I'm actually talking about the stuff that makes the plastic and the fuels and all that type of stuff. They never had solid reason to make that illegal in the United States, except for the oil industry and the plastics industry and all that type of stuff. What a racket! I know, but that's something that's actually going to have to be fought for. Besides this, they got the marijuana going, but the thing that's actually probably going to save the world is hemp, the industrial hemp, more than anything. So, we're looking at silver, we're looking at gold. Silver I like better than gold because it has more uses. But if we can actually have something that will give the people the real power, it's going to be hemp. So, just want to leave you with that.